All right, so let's start with some updates that have been coming in from Indonesia that has suffered yet another earthquake. At least about 34 people are now reported to have died, while hundreds of others have been wounded in this deadly quake that hit Indonesia in the early hours of the morning. According to reports that are emerging, at least about a dozen patients in a hospital are still said to be trapped underneath the rubble in a hospital that is said to have collapsed because of this earthquake. Rescue operations are presently underway in the devastated region, and officials fear that the death toll could actually rise even higher. The earthquake measured about 6.2 on the Richter scale and hit Indonesia's Sulawesi Island at 1 o'clock in the wee hours of the morning earlier today. The epicenter of the earthquake is said to be 6 kilometers northeast of the city of Majene, and the epicenter is about 10 kilometers deep under the earth. The thousands of residents fled their homes to seek safety after the earthquake hit the region. The quake was felt very strongly for well over several seconds, but no tsunami warning has been triggered. The Disaster Mitigation Agency has said that the hotel and also the office of the West Sulawesi governor was severely damaged after the earthquake. Electricity supplies in the region have been affected. Authorities say that it's perfectly possible that the region will experience more aftershocks. Now, Indonesia's disaster agency has said that a series of earthquakes have been reported in the last 24 hours that have also resulted in at least about 3 different landslides. Remember, just yesterday, Indonesia had experienced in the same region another earthquake that was measured 5.8 on the Richter scale. It had ended up damaging several homes and buildings. Now, Indonesia is a nation of high tectonic activity and is regularly hit by earthquakes.
Siapa nama tadi?
Angel.
Siapa itu di sebelah tak?
Catering.
Masih bernapas sih?
Masih ada suaranya, tapi susah be.
Oh iya, sabar. Masih mau minum dek?
Ini sementara di bawah. Kami sementara.
Siapa nama tadi?
Angel.
Siapa itu di sebelah tak?
Catering.
Masih bernapas sih?
Masih.
All right, now to give us more updates in terms of what's actually happening in Indonesia, we are joined in by journalist Vandana Nanwani, who's joining us live from Jakarta. Vandana, thank you very much indeed for joining us on this broadcast on Wion. And let me begin by asking you this. What is the situation right now in the aftermath of the earthquake?
Yes, sure. I'll give you some updates on the current situation of the earthquakes. As you mentioned before, yes, there are 2 earthquakes that happened within a day. So the 5.8 magnitude earthquake happened last night, and today a 6.2 magnitude earthquake happened early in the morning in neighboring regencies in West Sulawesi. Now, the 6.2 magnitude earthquake is actually an aftershock of what happened the day before of the 5.8 magnitude earthquake. We do know that, the governor's office, hotels, hospitals, and around 300 citizens' houses has been severely damaged. And from CCTV footage that I could acquire from the region, I did see that, patients in the hospital were forcefully evacuated while still receiving treatments. Although some reports say 34 fatalities, as you said, but with local reports, we confirmed that there are actually 16 fatalities from these 2 earthquakes. However, the number could rise because evacuation process is still very much underway. Medical aid as well is underway. More equipment is needed, and that is still being sent from central Sulawesi, as well as assistance from the capital here in Jakarta. Now, we do know that people who have safely evacuated are evacuated, and they are in safer shelters close to the region, because obviously the affected area has been closed for the public to pass. And in a recent press conference, the head of the Disaster Mitigation Agency did say that, yes, we can expect more aftershocks, more earthquakes in the coming days. She also said that because there have been 2 major earthquakes, this region in West Sumatra can experience landslides as well.
Absolutely, indeed, Vandana. Now, a lot of people watching from around the world, would be interested in knowing as to what is this area where the epicenter of the earthquake actually struck. How densely populated is this?
Yes, Sulawesi is actually one of the biggest islands in Indonesia, and it is extremely densely populated, but it is very disaster prone. Indonesia in general is very disaster prone. As you mentioned as well in the report earlier, that yes, central Sulawesi experienced a tsunami back in 2018, and Indonesia as well as North Sumatra, also experienced tsunami back in 2004. And they're actually comparing the situation right now to the tsunami earthquakes in Sulawesi back in 2018. In a press conference, the head of the Disaster Mitigation Agency did say that if there is an aftershock now onwards with a higher magnitude, then it is prone to experience tsunami. She did also warn the people living near the waters on the beaches to evacuate now and not wait for until a tsunami warning, because tsunamis happen fast. We have seen it in Indonesia. It's happened a couple of times. And generally, Indonesia is a very disaster-prone country because of its geographical location. We experience natural disasters almost annually.
Absolutely, indeed. Now, there are aftershocks that have been reported. Yesterday, there was an earthquake that measured 5.8 on the Richter scale. And this morning, at about 1 a.m. this morning, is when the 6.2 earthquake that measured on the Richter scale was recorded. Have there been reports of other major tremors that have been reported on the Sulawesi Island?
Not at the moment. I cannot confirm for more aftershocks, but we can anticipate. However, right now, these two have been the major earthquakes that has happened in West Sulawesi and the Sulawesi Island.
Absolutely, indeed. Thank you very much indeed, Vandana, for joining us and getting us all those insights. This, of course, is a developing story and will, of course, come back to you as more details emerge. Wion is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.